I was in the hospital for gastritis when Claire took a call and shot to her feet. Ben has a fever. I'm going to check on him. I'll be right back. Before I could say a word, she was gone, and she didn't come back all night. That evening, I saw Ben's new TikTok, a short, sappy video of him looking weakly at the camera with the caption, "With you here, I feel like I can beat anything." I left a comment. "She's a great caretaker, that's for sure." My phone buzzed almost immediately. It was Claire. "Leo, it's not what it looks like. He was all alone. He's just so pitiful. I was just keeping him company for a little while." "Yeah, I know. You're friends. It's only right that you take care of him." I hung up and lay back on the stiff hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. I didn't sleep a wink. Claire and I had been together for 3 years. 3 years of me chasing after her, always feeling like I was one step behind. Ben was her childhood best friend. In Claire's words, if anything was going to happen between us, it would have happened years ago. It wouldn't have been you, would it? But I didn't get it. A relationship is between two people. How do you make it work with three? After a long time, I sighed, pulled up my email, and found the invitation I'd been ignoring. I composed my thoughts and wrote a reply. Then I called my manager. I told him I'd take the overseas post. "Really? Leo, you're not messing with me, are you? You turned it down before. You finally came to your senses." "Yes, Dave. I've thought it through. A few years of experience at the London office would be a good thing." "Great. Get your affairs in order. You leave in a month." I ended the call and took a deep breath. Finally, it was going to be over. As expected, Claire didn't come back that night. I found I didn't care anymore. She showed up early the next morning, still wearing yesterday's clothes, but now she carried the faint scent of roses and vanilla. I didn't know they had showers at the hospital. Besides, that wasn't the brand of body wash we used at home. Maybe it was guilt, but she started apologizing as soon as she walked in. "I'm so sorry. Ben got a sudden headache, and I had to stay with him. I must have dozed off. Please don't be upset. It's fine. Taking care of sick people is exhausting." My calm response seemed to throw her. She was speechless for a moment, clearly expecting a fight. "Well, breakfast. You should eat it while it's hot." She opened a takeout container. Inside was a bowl of lukewarm soup and some soggy crackers on the side. It was obviously someone's leftovers. I shook my head. "No, thank you. It's just chicken noodle, not spicy or anything. I got it specially for you. Just have a bite." Claire even picked up the plastic spoon, ready to feed me. I refused again. That's when she snapped. "Leo, are you doing this on purpose? I go out of my way to bring you breakfast, and you're going to act like this?" Seeing her slam the container down on the nightstand, I just sighed. "I can't eat dairy, Claire. The soup is cream-based." Her face went pale. She took a step back, flustered. I'm sorry. I forgot." She fumbled for a moment. "What do you want to eat? I'll go buy it. Don't worry about it. My delivery will be here any minute." Right on cue, a delivery guy knocked on the door. I took my breakfast, sat on the edge of the bed, and ate every last bite. My stomach finally started to feel better. Claire just stood there, watching me. I raised an eyebrow. "What? I feel like you've changed. Why aren't you angry?" "Angry about what?" "You already apologized. You said it wasn't on purpose." She couldn't find the words. She just stared at me, her mouth half open, before finally closing it. Just then, her phone rang. It was Ben. "Claire, I still don't feel good. Can you come back and stay with me?" "Okay, I'm on my way." After hanging up, she looked at me and hesitated. "He's all alone. I'll just go for a little while and come right back." "That's what you said last night, and you're gone all night." "I'm alone." I looked her straight in the eye. "Claire, you're my girlfriend. Can you, just for once, choose me?" She opened her mouth to speak, but her phone rang again. This time, Ben's voice was even weaker. "Claire, the doctor said I might have pneumonia. What do I do?" "Don't panic. I'm coming right now." She shot me an annoyed look. "You can order your own food, so you must be fine. I promise I'll stay with you next time." She left without a backward glance. I clenched my fists. There wouldn't be a next time. I was done putting my hopes in her. After a week, I was discharged. On my way out, I saw Claire helping Ben with his own discharge paperwork. I'd never seen her look so gentle. She was carefully supporting him, his tall frame leaning heavily on her. Anyone who didn't know better would think he was paralyzed. It was just a cold and a fever that landed him in the hospital for a week. Now he looked perfectly healthy, flushed and bright-eyed. What an act. A sarcastic smile touched my lips. I turned, hailed a cab, and went home. My manager had already sent over the files for the London office, and I started preparing for the move. I began packing up my things. I was halfway through a box when Claire came home. She had another woman with her, her childhood friend Ruby. Ruby saw me and rolled her eyes at Claire. "I thought you said he was in the hospital. What's he doing back?" Ruby was the #1 shipper of Claire and Ben, constantly trying to set them up. After Claire and I started dating, Ruby never had a nice word to say to me. I didn't care. It was clear Claire had completely forgotten I was being discharged today. Even she looked surprised to see me. Then it dawned on her. You're out of the hospital? Why didn't you tell me? She asked, a nervous edge to her voice. I kept my tone flat. You look busy. I didn't want to bother you. It's not a big deal anyway. As soon as the words left my mouth, Ruby scoffed. See? I told you. He's fine. He doesn't need you. She turned to Claire. And to think you were worried about him, even asking me to come over and help you cook for him. Claire's face flushed, then paled. I just nodded at them and went back into the bedroom to continue packing. When she noticed the overflowing trash can, her brow furrowed. Then she saw the ceramic dolls Mai and her that we had made together, now shattered among the garbage. She froze, then stormed into the room. Leo, what is the meaning of this? She demanded. Why did you throw away our ceramic dolls? I dropped them by accident. They shattered, so I threw them out. Didn't you say they were silly anyway? My words made her flinch. We'd gotten those dolls on a trip right after we started dating. I had loved them, even convincing the artist to model them after us. I cherished them, placing them in the most prominent spot in our apartment when we got home. Claire had laughed at me, said I was being sentimental over a silly trinket. I ignored her. I just felt like the little figure looked so much like me. And now I'd thrown it in the trash, a final cut with the past. Hearing my explanation, Claire was speechless. Ruby grabbed her arm and pulled her out of the room. Come on, forget him. What a drama queen. He's just trying to get your attention. Her voice lowered. Didn't you say Ben lost a lot of weight with this pneumonia? You wanted to cook something to build his strength back up, right? Let's figure out what to make. She dragged Claire into the kitchen, and the two of them started whispering. I wasn't even angry. She'd always despised me. So why would I chase after her approval now? I just focused on packing my suitcases. Once I was done, I took the printed files into the study and started going over them. The business at the London office was much broader and more complex than our domestic operations. I needed to get as much of it down as possible before I left so I could hit the ground running. As I was studying, Claire came in. Leo, is there anything you'd especially like to eat? Her eyes fell on the piles of documents. What's this? She froze when she saw me buried in the files. Did you change jobs? Yeah, you could say that. A new opportunity came up. I wanted to give it a shot. I looked up. Did you need something? She remembered why she came in. I wanted to ask what you wanted for dinner. Whatever. You two go ahead. I ordered takeout. You. Her anger flared for a second before she softened her tone. Leo, are you hiding something from me? I feel like you've changed. Have I? I don't feel any different. Isn't this kind of hands-off approach what you've always wanted? Once, when we fought about Ben, she had yelled at me. I'm a free person. I don't need you to teach me how to live my life. Now that I was finally giving her that freedom, she couldn't handle it. She was the one saying I had changed. Claire was about to say more when Ruby's voice called from the kitchen. Claire, how do you prep this shrimp? Get in here. Claire had no choice but to turn and leave. I found the whole thing laughable. A little later, I took my glass to the kitchen to get some water. I could hear Claire's voice, low and worried. I don't know, he's just acting so weird. It's like he's planning on leaving me. Good, let him leave. Didn't you say he's got nothing on Ben? This is the perfect excuse to dump him. Ben is handsome, and he's so gentle. I honestly don't get why you're even with Leo. The guy has no parents. When you get married, you won't have any family support at all. Not like Ben. His family background is incredible. I frowned. It was true. My parents had died in a car crash the year I started college. I've been on my own ever since. My relatives only cared about the settlement money, so I cut ties with all of them. When I met Claire, I started to see her as the only family I had. I even tried my best to get along with her friends, but they never accepted me. Before, I would have bent over backward to fit in with them. Now, I'd already decided to end things. What do they matter anymore? I heard Claire sigh. I wanted to, but Ben's parents didn't approve. And my parents said that even though his family is great, the gap between us is too big. Our family's savings wouldn't even be a rounding error to them. So, I settled for the next best thing. I chose Leo. He has no parents, so no mother-in-law drama. So that's what you were thinking. Ruby finished her sentence and then winked at me over Claire's shoulder, a smirk on her face. You heard her, the look said. She never liked you. Get the hint and get out. I smiled faintly, walked past them with my glass, and filled it with water from the tap. The sound made Claire jump and drop the bowl she was holding, shattering it on the floor. You, when did you get here? She shrieked. Just now. I was thirsty. She was panicking, about to launch into an explanation, but I spoke first. You're right, actually. When you're serious about someone, you have to consider all the factors. I looked her in the eye, and my main selling point is a simple family life. No mother-in-law drama. My frankness seemed to unnerve her more than an argument would have. No, that's not what I meant, Leo. I didn't mean it like that. It's impossible with Ben, you. Before she could finish, Ruby yanked her aside. What are you explaining to him for? It's the truth. Ben is a better catch than he is. You two were supposed to be together. If your parents hadn't objected, he wouldn't have even been in the picture. Shut up. Claire finally exploded, turning on Ruby. This is none of your business. Furious, Ruby shoved past me. Fine. See if I care. She slammed the front door on her way out, leaving just the two of us in the apartment. Seeing Claire's mortified expression, I let out a bitter laugh. Claire, let's break up. She shook her head frantically. No, I don't want to break up. She was just talking nonsense. It's impossible with Ben. You're the only one for me. Don't say things like that anymore. I don't want to hear it. With that, she turned her back to me. I need to cook. Please leave, she said in a choked voice. I knew she couldn't face me. I sighed and walked out. No matter what, in her eyes, I would always be the runner-up, the second best choice. She didn't really love me. I was just her best available option. People are wired for self-preservation. I couldn't even blame her for it. Claire busied herself in the kitchen for a long time. By the time she came out, I was dressed and ready to leave to meet someone. Just then, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Ben standing there, holding a bouquet of roses. I knew you'd be home, he said, his eyes fixed on Claire. Thank you so much for taking care of me while I was sick. I came by to thank you properly. I even made you some soup. He held up a thermos, his expression triumphant. His gaze flickered to me for a split second, full of challenge. I took a deep breath and forced a smile. You two have fun. I'm heading out for dinner. Hey, stay and eat with us. Ben offered magnanimously. I made plenty. No, thanks. I'm meeting a friend. You two enjoy. I walked out without another word. I really was meeting someone, my manager, Dave. I was officially reporting back to the office today, and I wanted to take him to dinner to thank him and ask a few more questions about the London transfer. Behind me, Claire called out, Leo. I didn't turn around. I had too much to do to waste time playing games with them. She stamped her foot in frustration. Ben's voice grew serious. Looks like I came at a bad time. All right, I'll go, so he doesn't have to see me and run off. Don't. Claire grabbed his arm. Don't go. If he wants to leave, let him. Waiting for the elevator, I could hear their laughter echoing from the apartment. I felt nothing. A complete, calm emptiness. If this had happened before, I would have been furious. But now, there wasn't even a ripple. I guess I'd really let go. When I got to the restaurant, Dave smiled. You're looking good. Glad to have you back. How are the preparations coming? Almost done. How long will I be in London? It's a 5-year contract. When you come back, the regional director position is yours for the taking. We've been grooming you for it. Don't even worry about the salary. It's more than triple what you're making now. When you get back, you'll be clearing 7 figures a year, no problem. The money was what kept me at this company. When I was hired, the owner told me they valued one thing above all else: ability. If you had the skills, you could have his job. I'd never considered the transfer before because I couldn't bear to leave Claire. Now it was different. With nothing holding me back, I had to think about myself. During dinner, my phone buzzed constantly with calls from Claire. I didn't answer, just switched it to silent. Then the text started coming in. Leo, what is your problem? Ben brings over soup out of the kindness of his heart, and you just storm out? Do you have any idea how embarrassing that was for me? I ignored them and spent the next few hours talking with Dave. It was late when I finally headed home. The apartment was pitch black when I walked in. I flipped on the light and saw shards of glass scattered on the floor. Looks like Claire had really lost it. I didn't say anything. I just called some movers to come get my packed boxes, took one last look around the room, and left. Goodbye, Claire. I blocked her number and all her social media accounts. Then I headed to the corporate apartment the company kept for transitional employees. I'll be back in 5 years, maybe. No point in renting a place. Around 11 that night, I was scrolling through Facebook when a post from Ben popped up in my feed. So thankful to have you in my life. In the video, he and Claire were wrapped in each other's arms, singing a duet into the camera. I hit like then blocked him too. The next day at the office, Dave announced my transfer to the London branch. A few of my colleagues who I was close with started heckling me, insisting I buy them dinner to celebrate the promotion. I got along well with them, so I happily agreed. That evening, we picked a nice restaurant downtown. The moment I walked in, I saw Ruby and her friends, and sitting with them, holding hands, were Claire and Ben. When she saw me, she snatched her hand back. What are you doing here? Ruby rolled her eyes. He probably heard you were here and followed you. Honestly, Leo, can you be any more disgusting? 1 minute you're pretending not to care, the next you're stalking her. I laughed out loud. Who said I was stalking you? Are you that paranoid? Last I checked, you don't own this restaurant. I get that you don't like me, Ms. Jensen. It must be frustrating. All that helpless rage when you can't have what you want. What did you say? You're in love with Ben, aren't you? Since we were done, there was no reason to be polite to her friends anymore. I might as well put it all out in the open. Her jaw dropped. You're talking nonsense. I roll my eyes. You know whether I am or not. And for the record, I'm not here to cause trouble for you. I'm here for dinner. Just then, my colleagues started walking in. Seeing me standing by the entrance, they called out, Leo, what are you doing standing here? Friends of yours? I shook my head. Don't know them. At my words, Claire's face turned a shade of green. My colleagues gathered around me. Leo, when do you head out to London? We're gonna miss you, man. We all started walking toward our table, chatting. Suddenly, Claire rushed over and grabbed my arm. Leo, you going to London? When did this happen? You said you were just changing jobs. Why are you going abroad? Ben was right behind her. Claire, calm down. It's pretty obvious you weren't part of his plan, so he didn't feel the need to tell you. Hearing his attempt to stir up more trouble, I just nodded. He's right. You weren't part of my plan. We broke up, remember? Behind me, my colleagues' eyes went wide. Then, one of them put it all together. She's your ex-girlfriend. The one who was all over some other guy while you were in the hospital with gastritis. How did you know? I asked, surprised. My colleague held up his phone. It was all over TikTok. I saw your girlfriend at the office once, so I recognized her. But then I saw her in this guy's videos. The comments are all saying how sweet you two were. Turns out she was just cheating on you, having her cake and eating it too. Our boy Leo already told you it's over. Why are you still harassing him? Another chimed in. TCH. She must have heard Leo's moving up in the world and came running back to latch on. Get lost. You don't deserve him. Before I could even speak, my colleagues had formed a wall around me. Claire's face was beet red with fury. She screamed at me. Leo, you did this on purpose. You had your colleagues humiliate me like this. Are you happy now? My friends laughed. Humiliate you? You got it twisted. You're not important enough for that. Now get lost before you ruin our dinner. Excuse me, waiter. What's going on here? Do we have to look at her face all night? A server quickly came over and escorted Claire and her party away. A moment later, my phone rang from an unknown number. It was Claire. I declined the call. She was relentless, trying 3 or 4 different numbers. Not wanting her to ruin the mood, I finally gave in and answered. Her voice came through, small and pleading. Leo, please don't leave, okay? I need to talk to you. I'm begging you. I took a deep breath, excused myself from my colleagues, and stepped outside. Claire was waiting in the hallway. The moment she saw me, she rushed forward and threw her arms around me. Don't go, okay? I don't want to break up with you. Please. I didn't hug her back. I just shook my head. Claire, we've already been over this. I'm breaking up with you, and I'm not changing my mind. Her face fell. Yes, I know what I did at the hospital was wrong. I admit it, but I'm truly sorry, and I apologized. Really? You apologized, and then you went and slept with him? At those words, the color drained from her face, leaving it a ghastly white. Don't say anything else. I have proof. I have videos and photos that are even more disgusting. Just go. I turned to leave, but she grabbed my arm. Please, just give me one more chance. At that moment, Ben appeared. Seeing Claire desperately pleading with me, he strode over and pulled her back. See? He doesn't appreciate what he has. Just ignore him for a couple of days and see what happens, Ben said, holding her back. Claire tried to argue, but Ben wouldn't let go. She finally snapped. Let go of me. Let go. She glared at me, her voice shaking with rage. Leo, if you really go to London, I will never forgive you. I walked back into the private dining room and shut the door behind me. Love might betray me, but my career wouldn't. Besides, I'd already made my choice once before. Was I supposed to give it all up again now? Claire didn't try to contact me again, and I was happy for the peace and quiet. Over the next month, I often wondered how different my life would be if I had never gotten together with her. 2 weeks before my flight, I went back to the hospital for a follow-up and to get my prescriptions refilled. The doctor confirmed everything was fine. As long as I took my medication and managed my stress, the gastritis shouldn't flare up again. A month later, with all my paperwork in order, I boarded the plane to London. And that's when I saw her at the gate. Claire, she had actually followed me. Not only that, she had a huge suitcase with her. Ben was standing behind her, his face a thundercloud. You've really decided to go with him? What's so great about this guy? He demanded. In a complete reversal of her usual behavior, she yelled back at him. You can drop the fake concern. It's not like you were going to marry me. Were you? You gave up on me back then, so what right do you have to be with me now? Ben was stunned into silence. I, hearing this from a short distance away, just shook my head with a small, wry smile and walked away without hesitation. A few minutes later, Claire caught up and sat down next to me on the plane. Leo Morrison, don't even think about leaving me behind. Wherever you go, I go. I didn't even look at her. We were broken up. If she wanted to follow me, fine. I was going to London to work, not to get tangled up in her drama again. Seeing my silence, she seemed to take it as tacit agreement, and a wave of relief washed over her face. After more than 10 hours of flying, everyone was exhausted, including me. Thankfully, a representative from the London office was there to meet me. He froze when he saw Claire standing with me. Mr. Morrison, is this? Claire immediately squeezed my hand. I'm his girlfriend. We broken up? I said, my voice cold as ice. Stop harassing me, or I will call the police right here, and you'll regret it. Get a ticket and go home. I looked her dead in the eye. I'm here to work, not to play these games with you. Claire, I'm telling you this for the last time. We're in a foreign country. Don't overestimate your own importance. If you throw a tantrum here, you'd better be careful. This wasn't a threat, but Claire, of course, didn't believe me and tried to argue. The people from the branch office were not playing around. They had security with them. They immediately pulled her aside, blocking her from getting near me. Claire shrieked, sank to the floor, and started sobbing. I turned and got in the car without a single backward glance. After that, I frequently got calls from unknown numbers. She stayed in London, hoping I'd come back to her, but I never agreed to see her. About 3 months later, she finally gave up. The security guys told me a man had picked her up and even showed me a photo. I recognized him immediately. It was Ben, so they were back together. I was honestly and truly relieved. As long as they were stuck with each other, they couldn't bother me. With Claire gone, my life became blessedly peaceful and productive. The work at the London office was even more complex than I had anticipated, but thanks to my preparation, it wasn't too difficult to manage. After 6 months, I had settled in and gotten used to life there. 5 years isn't that long, but it was long enough for me to build a new world for myself. Colleagues from back home would occasionally send me updates on Claire. Ruby somehow got my new number and would periodically forward me news about the happy couple. Ben and Claire ended up getting married because she was pregnant with his child. Apparently, the meeting between the parents was a disaster. Insults were thrown, and they nearly came to blows. Ruby, of course, was their biggest cheerleader. Leo, you're actually a pretty decent guy. You just weren't good enough for Claire, she texted me once. But now, they've overcome all the obstacles to be together. My ship has finally sailed. Reading her messages, I could only think she was a complete idiot. To be in love with a guy, but actively push him into the arms of her best friend. I couldn't even begin to imagine the twisted logic in her head. The day before her wedding, Claire sent me a novel-length text message. Thousands of words detailing how she was being forced into marrying Ben. She said her heart was still with me, that she missed me terribly, and that if I just said the word, she would call off the wedding in a heartbeat. I almost laughed out loud. I screenshotted the entire message and sent it directly to Ben's Instagram DMs. I heard later that, for some unknown reason, Ben and Claire had a massive fight right before the wedding. She ran away from home, but he eventually tracked her down and brought her back. The invitations had already been sent. They had to get married. Hearing this news made me smile. So much for their unbreakable bond. The slightest provocation and they fell apart. Their life together wasn't going to be easy. Soon enough, I was too busy with work to pay them any mind. I stopped keeping up with news from back home and blocked Ruby's number for good. 5 years later, I returned to Chicago. My old manager had been promoted, and I stepped into the role of regional director. On my first day back, my colleagues took me out to celebrate. As we were walking into the hotel restaurant, a voice behind me gasped in disbelief. Leo Morrison. I turned. It was Ruby. I couldn't believe that on my very first day back, she was the first person I'd run into. Of all of Claire's friends, Ruby had been the one who looked down on me the most, always ready with a sarcastic comment. Today, however, I was the one looking down. I stood there, hands in my pockets, every inch the successful executive. I gave her a slight nod and started to walk away. But Ruby rushed forward to block my path. Leo, you're back. It wouldn't be right to just pretend you don't know me, would it? Come, have a drink with us. She tilted her head, a move she probably thought was cute. I laughed. Ms. Jensen, I don't think we're familiar enough to sit at the same table. I'm sorry. I nodded at her again and walked past. Behind me, Ruby started yelling. What's so great about you? You get a little money, and suddenly you don't know anyone. I just shrugged and kept walking. It wasn't worth getting angry over someone like her. After dinner, I went back to my hotel room. I had just arrived and spent the day handling the transition at the office, so I hadn't had time to look for a new place yet. The company was arranging an apartment for me, but I still needed to buy furnishings, so for now, I was at the hotel. Around midnight, a jarring ring from the hotel phone woke me up. I opened my door to find Claire standing there. In 5 years, she had changed completely. Her face was gaunt and drawn, her body thin. The confident, vibrant woman I once knew was gone. The moment she saw me, she lunged forward. I quickly put a hand up to stop her. If you have something to say, say it. If not, I'm calling security. No, please, don't call them. You're back. Why didn't you contact me? I found it hilarious. Ms. Evans, we broke up 5 years ago. You're a married woman. Why on earth would I contact you? My words hit her like a physical blow. She staggered back, clutching her chest. I'm married. Yes, but can't we even be friends? I shook my head. I'm a person who believes in boundaries. Keeping a respectful distance from married women is basic decency. Besides, I wouldn't want my girlfriend to get jealous. What did you say? Girlfriend? She looked at me, her face a mask of disbelief. How can you have a girlfriend? I laughed again. I have a girlfriend. Is that so strange? Did you really think I'd stay celibate my whole life, waiting for you? Claire, you think way too highly of yourself. I gestured to the door. Do you have anything else to say? If not, please leave. I had no idea how she got my room number. It was clear I couldn't stay at this hotel anymore. As I went to close the door, she pushed past me and stumbled into the room. Seeing her act like this, like some kind of cornered animal, I pulled out my phone and stood by the open doorway. My defensive posture made her laugh bitterly. Are you that afraid of me? I shrugged. Get on with it. What do you want? I regret it, she whispered. I regret marrying Ben. I thought the only reason we weren't together was because our parents were against it. After we broke up, I met you. Everyone said you weren't good enough for me, and I was foolish enough to believe them. But after being with you, I got used to you caring for me, taking care of me. I got used to having you depend on me. It wasn't until you left that I realized I truly loved you. She was sobbing now, looking up at me with pleading eyes. Those 3 months in London, I was completely lost. I hated you. How could you just abandon me like that? When Ben came to get me, he was like a knight in shining armor, descending from the heavens. I was just so. As she choked on her own sobs, I felt a headache coming on. I had just gotten off a 10-hour flight, was still jet-lagged, and now I had to listen to this. I was at my breaking point. I dialed the front desk. What is going on down there? You gave out my room number, and now there's a crazy woman up here harassing me. Please call the police for me. Claire, lost in her own self-pitying narrative, didn't immediately register what I'd said. When she did, her face went white. What did you say? A crazy woman? Are you deaf? I've already had them call the police. If you don't leave now, you're going to be a viral news story by morning. That finally broke her. You think I'm a crazy woman? Leo, what was I to you? Have you completely forgotten everything between us? I found it pathetic. You're just my ex, I said, my voice dripping with scorn. An ex I broke up with 5 years ago. And a good ex is one who acts like they're already dead. Especially a married ex-girlfriend. Claire, stop debasing yourself. My beautiful memories of us, the filter through which I'd seen our past, shattered in that instant. I was being blunt, but I needed her to understand she couldn't drag me in her mess. Anyone seeing this would think I was the one seducing her. A married woman showing up at a man's hotel room late at night to pour her heart out? What was that? No, it wasn't a heart-to-heart. It was one-sided harassment, and I was terrified of it. Claire couldn't accept it. She started to scream something else, but just then, hotel security arrived with the police. I explained what had happened. The officers looked bewildered, but took her away. As they led her down the hall, she shot me one last, mournful look. Leo Morrison, you'll regret this. I shrugged. It didn't bother me. Regret? I wouldn't regret a thing. Lying in bed, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. I was texting an old colleague when I found out just how disastrous Claire and Ben's life had become. 5 years had eroded any illusion they had about each other. The perfect man she'd once dreamed of had become an irritation she couldn't stand. They fought constantly about money and his mother. Claire finally realized what a terrible partner Ben was. He was a total mama's boy, doing whatever his mother said. His family had never liked Claire to begin with. After they got married, she had a miscarriage, and her mother-in-law despised her even more. Ben remained silent, refusing to take a side, which left Claire completely disillusioned. My colleague added a warning. Leo, whatever you do, don't fall for it. After you left 5 years ago, that woman came to our office building and staged a protest with signs. Said you used her and threw her away. The CEO was furious. When he found out you'd already broken up with her, he called the police to have her removed. The woman has some serious issues now. I had no idea that it happened. A chill went down my spine. Thank God I called the police tonight. Who knows what would have happened otherwise? On an impulse, I sent the video I'd recorded of her in my hotel room to Ben, along with a simple message. Get your wife under control. I expected them to fight. I never imagined it would be that bad. The next day, while I was at the office, 2 detectives showed up. They asked if I knew a Claire Evans and a Ben Carter. I froze, then admitted that I did, but that she was an ex-girlfriend and I just filed a police report against her the night before. After reviewing my statement, the detectives told me what had happened. Claire and Ben had gotten into a huge argument. It turned violent. Knives were involved. Ben had been stabbed to death. Claire was critically injured. She was in the hospital now and was asking to see me. The news was staggering, but I went. When I reached her hospital room, I saw her lying there, tubes everywhere, her body wrapped in gauze. On the way over, the police had told me she was severely wounded. They had attacked each other with a kitchen knife. She had been stabbed several times. Even if she recovered, she'd be permanently disabled. When she saw me, she weakly lifted a hand, trying to reach for mine. I shook my head. Claire, I don't regret that we loved each other once, but I hope you never appear in my life again. My words were probably cruel, but they were how I truly felt. A bitter smile touched her lips, and she let her hand fall back to the bed. She looked at me and whispered one thing. I'm sorry. Leo, I was greedy. I wanted more than I deserved, and in the end, I lost the one person who truly loved me. Can you forgive me? Seeing her so fragile, I clenched my fists. It doesn't matter if I forgive you or not, because we were already over a long time ago. I understand. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. She lay on the bed and began to weep, her body shaking. A doctor rushed in, telling her not to get too agitated. I just nodded once and turned and walked away. She didn't die. They managed to save her. But because of Ben's death, she was charged with murder. However, given that it was a case of mutual combat and that Ben had attacked first, Claire's family hired a good lawyer. The trial lasted 2 years. In the end, Claire was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Her injuries were so severe that when she was released, she couldn't work. She couldn't even manage basic daily tasks on her own. She had no choice but to go home and be cared for by her parents. On the day I married my fiancée, Claire's parents came. They stood at a distance, watching the ceremony and wiping tears from their eyes. I didn't approach them, but I had one of the ushers bring them a small box of our wedding favors. Years later, when my daughter was in elementary school, Claire was released from prison. The next time I saw her, it was on the news. She was in a long-term care facility where she had been systematically abused and tortured by a nurse. The family had discovered it during a visit. The nurse in question was Ruby Jensen. Watching the report, I couldn't help but let out a heavy sigh. Ruby's love for Ben had been a true, all-consuming obsession. Even after he was dead, she hadn't forgotten her quest for revenge, going so far as to get a job at that specific facility just to torment Claire. I shook my head and turned off the TV. I never saw or heard about Claire again after that. Our lives, which had once been so intertwined, now ran on parallel tracks, destined never to cross again.